everybody! Today I thought I would do a special story time to commemorate 4 months of dating in Tokyo. And what a wild 4 months it has been, let me tell you. I know that you guys really like my story time videos, particularly about dating, so I'm gonna kind of squish 4 months of terrible dating stories into this one video. I'll try my best. And my son is actually sleeping right here, as you can tell, so I'll try not to be too loud. It was his birthday party yesterday, so I guess he's like sleeping off a hangover or something. A bit of backstory really quickly. If you saw my video from a few months ago, me and my ex broke up after I think 7 years of being together, and so like being thrown into the dating scene at age 30 was honestly a lot, because I think I mentioned this in the other video, but the dating pool is obviously very different between being 23 and being 30. And that being said, it was actually easier, I found, because by the time you're my age, you kind of figure out what you want in a partner. And so in that sense, it was much easier because I had a better understanding of what I wanted. However, the dating pool was not the best, if I'm honest. Like, there was a lot of people who are like perpetual bachelors, a lot of time wasters, and a lot of people who are like in polyamorous relationships, but I'll get into that later. Okay, I'll start with perhaps one of the better dates. I went on a date with a guy, I'll call him So. I went on a date with a guy that I met on Bumble, I think. And yeah, we just agreed to meet up, and we went to Ueno, and we just agreed to meet at an izakaya and just talk. And honestly, it was definitely the smoothest of the dates I went on. I met up with him, and he was honestly like incredibly handsome. I did post a picture of him on my Instagram story of the waist down, and oh my god, the thirst was real in my DMs, let me tell you. He was a very attractive man, and he was very interesting too. Like, he was a juggler, and he learned English from traveling around Europe and juggling. I don't know, but yeah, we had a lot of interesting talks. We talked a lot about like European philosophers and things. He was very, very interesting. And but yeah, like towards the end of the evening, he said that he had a girlfriend who lived in Mexico or something, and they were in kind of like a polyamorous relationship, and he hadn't seen her in like since before the pandemic. And honestly, just like dating is already a lot. I don't want to have to like unpack extra things. So like, if there's already these issues at the start, 1, I'm not polyamorous. 2, I'm not gonna get him to break up with his girlfriend. 3, that doesn't sound healthy, but also I'm not a therapist, so I'm not gonna deal with this for you. So we had a really good talk, and we just agreed to be friends. And yeah, like, he still mails me sometimes because he's taking over his father's company, and he's unsure about his life, blah 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 blah. And we talk a lot about like the future, and like he takes a lot of like personality tests, and he's trying to like find himself. It's kind of cute, but like definitely not what I'm looking for, particularly at this age. I'm looking for someone who's a little bit sure of what they want. And yeah, I think that's really, really important, that I don't want to go into a relationship already with all these problems. So yeah, we ended up just being friends. Okay, so date number 2. My ex actually taught me how to use the app Pairs, because I only really used Bumble up until then, and Pairs is a Japanese app, and it's so detailed because you can search from someone's salary, you can find their blood type, like where they stand politically. There's so many options. You can go by height and stuff like that. Height and stuff like that aren't really that important to me, but my ex thought it'd be really funny to put the salary thing all the way up. So I ended up going on a date with a few rich guys, and as you probably tell, I don't really like rich people. I find most of them are assholes, but I thought I would give it a chance just in case I could marry into money. And I did go on a date with a guy who is my age, and yeah, his name, we'll call him Yuki, and he seemed really attractive from his picture. He actually lived very close to me, so we agreed to meet up pretty quickly. This is when I discovered something called language fishing. You know how catfishing is if someone doesn't look like their picture? Language fishing is when someone doesn't speak the language as well as they claim to. This happens quite a lot. I don't care if someone doesn't speak English. I don't mind only speaking in Japanese. However, do not lie to me. I hate when the date already starts on a lie. And a few dates I went on, the guy would mail me in English, and he said that he lived abroad and stuff like that, and then when you meet him, actually he doesn't speak English and you only end up speaking in Japanese. And I'd rather if you just started from I don't speak English, and then, you know, I would know. Anyways, he said he lived in America, and I guess he spoke English a little bit, but he claimed to be fluent and he was not. So the whole date was in Japanese, totally fine. Again, just don't lie to me. Immediately I got kind of creeped out because he was very intensely staring at me. And we went to a cafe that he picked out, and I sat down and I noticed he was staring at me, waiting for me to take off my mask to see what I looked like under my mask. I guess to see if I look like my pictures. And I took my mask off and I felt like, I don't know, like being targeted. And he was immediately like, oh, you're so beautiful, like blah blah blah, like all these compliments, which made me feel really uncomfortable. And the staring, and he wasn't the best conversationalist. Like he said, we talked about traveling, and he said he visited like 30 countries, and he went to Greece, which is my dream, and he went to a couple of places in Greece that I've always wanted to go. And he just, every time he's just like, yeah, the sea was very beautiful, I enjoyed the beach. And it's like, oh, did you go to here, did you go to there, did you see the temple of Poseidon? He's like, yes, the sea was very beautiful. And it's like, this man has been to 30 countries, not one interesting story from any of them. Like, he was just so dry, like there's no conversation there. He had a very good job in tech, so he was very rich, and he kept telling me that he lived in like a giant house and he was really lonely, and that he just wanted to get married quickly and his wife to move in. And he was like, you wouldn't have to do any cooking or cleaning, like you could just live in my house and stuff like that. It was very intense, very strange. I was not about it. I did not appreciate the staring. The best part was when the staff came over with a big piece of chocolate cake for me, and I don't know what happened, but she kind of like wobbled and the cake fell, a massive piece of cake just fell into my open handbag on the chair. And there was like a 2-second pause of us, just three of us looking at each other. The staff was really worried that I was gonna go off because this was a really fancy cafe, and I guess she was like, damn, I've just ruined this bitch's brand bag or whatever. And I just looked at my bag and was like, it's okay, I love chocolate cake. And then afterwards, the guy I went on a date with, he was like, oh, you're so kind, I thought it was really nice how you treated the waitress like that. And yeah. So I guess like this guy got really into me, and after that we were heading to the station, and he asked me if I wanted to continue hanging out, and I said sorry, like I have some other things I have to do. And he asked me if I wanted to go drinking, and I said I would like to go drinking sometime. Then he like grabbed my hand, like held my hand, and I was so shocked because particularly in Japan, like people don't like touch each other suddenly, and I don't like that, and I just got really scared. And then as I was walking to the station, he was holding my hand, he kind of like pulled me in the wrong direction, and I said like, what are you doing? I'm going home. And he was like, oh, I thought you said that you wanted to go drinking. And I said, no, I'll go drinking next time. I don't want to go drinking now. It was nice to meet you, like I should probably head off. And then I left, and I don't know, something about that interaction just really scared me. And obviously I was just saying I would go drinking with you next time because I didn't want him to murder me. But then I mailed him after that and I said, I'm really sorry, I just don't think we're a good match. And he said, oh, thank you for meeting me. I hope that you can find someone that matches you better. So he was nice in the end. And then just something about the whole interaction scared me. Maybe I'm a little bit overly cautious, but I don't like it when guys randomly touch me, particularly on the first date, and like, I don't know, it could have gone badly. Then I went on a mediocre date. This is actually a guy off Bumble I met, and he's actually from Costa Rica, so he's just like a foreigner like me, and I wanted to see what going on a date with another foreigner would be like, and we met up. He was pretty attractive. He's really tall, but the immediate red flag was his profile said he was 28, but then when I met him, he was like, oh, by the way, I'm actually 26. Again, don't like starting a date off on lies. And also, because my ex was younger than me, I only want to date someone my own age now, so immediately I was just kind of like, no. He took me to like a Latin restaurant, and I got to try some Latin food. That was really fun. Then yeah, he was pretty funny. Oh yeah, he said something really funny. He said that he used to go to a Catholic school in Costa Rica, and the nuns confiscated his Yu-Gi-Oh cards and burnt them. I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, it was a good experience. Nothing bad. He seemed like a really nice guy, but he mailed me on Instagram a little bit after that, and he said, I know you don't want to go on a date with me anymore, but I want you to at least follow me back. I don't want to just become your fan or something. I thought that was a little bit weird. Like, he didn't have to do that, but here we are. The next date was actually no, maybe this was the best date I went on thus far. This was a guy who's half Japanese and half Singaporean, and he ended up taking me to like a Singaporean restaurant, which is great because I don't know anything about Singaporean food. And part of this dating journey for me, I wanted to meet people of different cultures, and I wanted to experience different cultures, and so far I was doing a pretty good job. So I met him, and I didn't think he would be as good looking as his picture, but he honestly was. He was like a very good looking gentleman. He wore a very expensive suit, and he did, his work was like something art, and we talked about art for the longest time. He got really excited because I'm also into art, and yeah, it went really good. He took me to quite a fancy restaurant actually, and we spent the whole evening eating Singaporean food and like deconstructing Japanese society, because as someone who's half Singaporean, he said that he did get treated quite badly sometimes by Japanese people. It was very interesting to see it from that perspective, and yeah, it went really well. I didn't have like that instant feeling that I'm really attracted to him, but I felt like there's like potential. So he said he was going on a trip to Osaka, and he would mail me when he got back, and then like he just never mailed me back. I don't know, it was weird. Like, I thought that we connected in some way, but I guess not. Then this has to be maybe my favorite. We call him the iPad Thai guy. Basically, this guy mailed me again on Bumble, and we were talking for a little bit. He said that he grew up in America, and we spoke initially in English. And the moment I agreed to meet up with him, he switched to Japanese, which is fine, but like, again, language fishing. And he really wanted to take me to this Thai restaurant because I said I like spicy food, and he wanted to eat this one particular dish that they only do at this one restaurant. So I had to go all this way to Machida to meet him. Not high on my list of things I wanted to do, but I do like spicy food. So I was like, at least I'll get to try this really delicious food. Comes the day I meet him, I go to meet him, and he's late. He mouths me and he said, sorry I'm late, my dog peed on me. I'm like, okay. And he mouths me again and said, sorry, I'm dressed like a robber today. And I'm like, you're dressed like, how does one dress like a robber? I'm expecting like a prison uniform of like white and black stripes. He turns up and I see exactly what he meant. He was wearing like a gray t-shirt and like gray sweatpants and like sneakers and like a beanie hat and like this like a front shoulder bag. Like, he definitely looked like an actual burglar. Like, particularly if you live in England, like, he looked like your image of a burglar. Like, I'm not sure why he came to the day dressed like this, but here we are. And when he turned up, he also was at least twice as heavy as his pictures, which for me, I personally really like chubby guys, so it wasn't a problem for me. But again, why you gotta lie? So yeah, the first thing I noticed about him is that he is aggressively sweating. Like, he is the sweatiest person I've ever seen. I sweat quite a lot, so I'm not one to judge. However, there was just no need for it. Like, he was clearly very nervous. This date, we didn't speak at all in English, even though he claimed that he lived in America or grew up in America, so that was like an issue. I just wanted to see that he could at least converse a little bit in English. Yeah, so we ended up going to the restaurant. We get there and I assumed he made a reservation, but he had not, and it was full naturally because it was a Friday. And then luckily they're like, oh, we have one more branch, it's just down the road. It ended up being a 15-minute walk, and it was a humid night, and this man is sweating even more. He's so nervous, and he was like, I just can't look at you, you're too beautiful. It was awkward. We get to the store, we sit down, and we're looking at the menu, and I pick out what I wanted. I wanted pad thai, and he wanted this dish that is the reason that we came to this place. And he turns to the waiter, who is not Japanese, who is Thai, and he asks them for iPad Thai. And they're like, what? And he's like, iPad Thai, iPad Thai, and he keeps saying it, and I'm like, I think you mean pad thai. And he's like, no, it's definitely iPad Thai. And the waiter doesn't know what he's saying, so I just order for myself. He gets his food, and his food comes, and I tried it, it was absolutely delicious. And he has a little tiny bit, and he starts sweating even more. He's like, whoa, well, this is spicier than I remember. And then he couldn't eat anymore because it was too spicy. And I'm like, did you seriously invite me all the way to this restaurant to try this one spicy food that is too spicy for you? Like, it's just embarrassing. Like, I don't know. And then he's like, oh, actually, your iPad Thai isn't as spicy, so can I just can we swap? Like, you can have this and I can eat your iPad Thai. I'm like, stop calling it iPad Thai. But sure, whatever. So I ended up having the spicy food, which was honestly pretty good. Like, he didn't lie, it was pretty good. Then he was like showing me all these pictures of his dogs that he had, and every time I'm like, oh, what's this one's name, what's that? And every time he's like, oh, like, actually I don't have this dog anymore, it died. And he did this like 3 or 4 times, and I swear to God, I was so done. I was just so desensitized to it at this point. I was like, oh, like, eating my food, like, how did that one die? And then yeah, we talked a little bit. We had absolutely nothing in common, and I felt really bad because I was pretending to be really, really into it, but honestly, I was so done even after the first 5 minutes. And he said that he hadn't been on a date in 2 months, and he was just really, really happy, so I did feel a little bit sorry for him. Then we walked back to the station, and yeah, I said thank you for having a nice date. And then he was like, yeah, like, next time maybe we can have dinner at your house because it would be cheaper. And I'm like, absolutely not. But I was like, yeah, okay, maybe. Then I took the train. The funny thing is like, obviously I wasn't gonna meet this man again, but when I logged back onto my Bumble, he had unmatched me. iPad Thai guy unmatched me. I was like, not gonna lie, I was kind of hurt, like, but it is what it is, and that's a part of dating. You have to handle rejection pretty well. Yeah. So where are we now? Okay, so amidst all this going on, I was actually casually seeing someone else. It was a really, really old friend that I hadn't seen in about 6 years, I guess. And I guess we ended up reconnecting over Instagram, and we were kind of like meeting up. And it did take a while for us to have like a proper date. And oh my God, our first date is honestly probably the worst now I think about it. So we met up to go see Multiverse of Madness when it came out, because we're both fans of Marvel. And they turned up late, first of all, which isn't a big issue, but this is supposed to be like our first big date, so it was kind of like, And then we went to the cinema to book our tickets, and they had like a pocket and then something over their pocket, so I guess they went to put their phone in their pocket and it just fell on the floor in the cinema. And I remember hearing like a noise of a phone dropping, and I saw a man, like an older man, pick up a phone and look at it, and I just assumed that that guy had dropped his phone, because I'm like, no way is the person I'm with just gonna drop their phone on the floor. Like, that's stupid, they're not gonna do something like that. And so like we left and we ended up going to eat Korean chicken, and in the Korean chicken place, my date puts their hand in the pocket and it's like, oh, where's my phone? And I was like, god damn it, it was their phone. And the funny thing is that they were just like, oh, I was thinking of updating my phone anyway, so it's not a big deal. And I'm like, we need to go get your phone immediately. So luckily they called the cinema and the cinema had it. So we went to the cinema after we ate our chicken, and we got there and we explained the phone, and then they had to fill out like a form. The whole process took about 10 minutes, and the staff member gave my date their phone and they put it back in their pocket, in the same pocket, and it fell on the floor again in front of 2 staff members. The phone just like hit the floor and bounced like several times, and all 4 of us are just looking at this phone, and you can tell the staff members are like, oh yeah, that's how they lost it. It was slightly embarrassing, but I found this all very cute and endearing, and I just thought it was really cute. So then so yeah, after that we went to like a game center, and we were trying to win a toy. I think it was like a kiwi plushie, and I remember them pulling out their wallet and putting 100 yen in the machine, trying to win it, and then giving up. What I didn't remember was them leaving their wallet on the friggin' machine. So we went to another cafe after that, and I remember them being like, oh, let me buy you a drink. And they went to pull out their wallet and it wasn't there because they left it. And I instinctively remembered that we had just been to the game center, so it had to be there. So again, they called the game center, the wallet was there, we went back and we picked it up. Let me tell you, I must have aged 5 years on that date. It was very stressful, but also very fun. One thing I noticed was, even though like this was quite stressful, this person didn't really get too frustrated, they didn't get like angry, or they didn't really lose their cool or anything like that. And that's something that I find really, really admirable, because I'm pretty sure that I have ADHD, because I always forget things, and I'm kind of similar, not that bad, but pretty similar. And one of the hard things about my previous relationship is that really, really bothered the other person, and I always wondered how it would be if I dated someone who was similar to me. And this person is very similar to me in a lot of ways. We have so many things in common, and like a lot of our bad traits are the same. And I was just interested to see if like being with someone who shares the things that you're bad at, is that gonna be better? Is that gonna be healing, or is that just gonna be chaos? So this is what I've been interested to find out. And yeah, so far, I'm not gonna lie, it has been chaos, but it's also been a lot of fun, and I'm learning a lot about myself, and I'm learning a lot about the other person. Oh yeah, and in case you didn't realize, I am suspiciously dressed up for a regular Storytime video where I just wear my pajamas mostly, and that is because I'm going on another date tonight with the person that lost their wallet and their phone at the cinema. So like, hopefully we don't lose anything tonight, but if we do, I'm open to the challenge, and I'm just really excited and just having a really good time. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'm also curious to hear about your dating stories. Please put them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and as always, please subscribe.